Alright, for this design what we're going to do is the pressure vessel design. Pressure vessel, go ahead and open it up. This is what you see at the very beginning for the original part. But this component, the pressure design, is going to be a little bit different. We need to shift over to the configurations tab. Underneath the configurations tab, we need to go into the FE8 tank study. So, double click on that, and that takes us into the tank study. Underneath this tank study, we could do a full study on it being this 100% of the tank. But in reality, we only need a quarter of the tank. So right here, if we look across here, we could look and see if anything else is suppressed. So right here, we look at these, all of these are suppressed, but we need to put in one more cut. So the next cut, let's grab the top plane and then hit for the sketch to activate and create a Pac-Man. So watch how we do this. We touch the outer edge, we convert the edge. That one I didn't get the outer edge completely. I got like one edge in accidentally. So right there, if I shift sideways a little bit and I grab that edge, then I convert it, then I should have the outer edge. Next thing I want to do is I want to grab and pull over to 3 o'clock and then pull up to 12 o'clock. Off of that design, we want to cut the Pac-Man. So this is what I mean by the Pac-Man. We don't want to cut the piece of pie. So that's the one we want to shade in, because we only want a quarter of our unit. We don't want to be calculating the whole tank at once. So when we come here, we say extrude, we say through all on the design, and there's the cut. Now let's go over and let's actually fix both of the configurations. So if we double click on default, you see how that one is suppressed on the design now. So check and verify. Now if we double click on the finite study, we have just a quarter of the tank. So there's our study. That's what we're going to run our finite study on. So let's go over and look at the add-ons. Turn on simulate. Underneath the simulation, once it clicks up here, click on simulate and then come over to a new study. We're not going to call this one static 1, we're going to call it pressure. So I'm going to go pressure underscore 1 and then hit check on that design. And now we need to put in our materials for a part. So right now we have applied plain carbon steel. So let's check and see. If we look at the PSI on it, we move over to English units. And the PSI on this unit right now, plain carbon steel, is kind of a little bit low. So I want you guys to shift it off to alloy steel on the design. Alloy steel is going to be a lot stronger for us for this pressure vessel design. And hit apply. Now the next thing we want to look at is we want to look over at the study chart that was online. So if we go here, the study chart that's online right here is whenever this item is at a temperature of 70 degrees, goes all the way to 130 degrees, the pressure load on the component gets all the way up to 315 psi. So that's the pressure load that we wish to put on the design. The other thing you got to watch out for is your soft spring analysis on the part. So let's go over to the study. And there's our little vessel. I would hit save at this time too. So now we know we're saved and we're up to date and everything. So the next thing we want to do is we want to fixture the unit. Underneath fixturing the unit, we want to do a fixed geometry, but we want a roller state on that geometry. So when we put a roller state on the geometry, we're picking a plane, and it's going to be this plane here and this plane here. That has the abilities that it'll hold it in place on that plane, but it'll allow it to roll left and right and expand on the design. Let's go ahead and go with check there. Next thing we want to do is we want to put in soft springs on the design, so go to properties and then put in a soft spring stabilization on the model. Last thing we want to do is the load. So let's put in a force load or pressure load. So we'll put in a pressure load on these 5 surfaces all the way across the unit, and those are going to be 315 psi on the design. We'll hit save there, and then we need to put in a controlled mesh. So we'll put create mesh. We want that mesh to be a curvature based mesh. The smallest in thickness is about 200 thou, and off of that, let's go ahead and let it go across for the mesh. It shouldn't take too long, and you can check and verify on the mesh. We're going to leave it a little bit simple for the very first shots on this design. So there's the full mesh on the design, and it doesn't take too long for the calculations. Do we have all 3 of the items we need? We have fixture, we have load, and we have mesh. So let's go ahead and run the study. Look at your iterations. So the study's already finished on the design, and we see that we're with the yield strength right now, and we've got a max strength right now, and our point of high max stress on the part is sitting right there at that rim. You can see it coloring in nice orange or red look for the design. Same here on this opposite side. You can see that look, and that's where your max stress is activating. So the next video we'll come back and we'll do an optimization study to figure out what the thickness needs to be and let the program do that work for you. So at this point we'll say File, Save All, and then we'll come back and we'll do that one in the near future. I will see you guys in a minute. Talk to you later.